Hello everybody and welcome to another Trace Parks video. I know I did a video like this last year and I said that I was going to try to do an annual thing with this every single year. Because last year I talked about my top 10 movies of 2019, which my number one was this movie right here, The Joker. And this year, as you know, it's been a crazy year. COVID has become a big thing, and I didn't really get to go to the movie theaters that much this year. I only went 3 times this year, and the rest of it I watched them at home. And so it's been a different year than last year, because last year I went and watched a lot of movies and all those things, and 2020 has just been a crazy year in general. This is going to be a little different than the last video, because last year I just started talking about the movies and that's what I did. I'm going to put chapters in the description. You'll also see them on in the bottom down here. You can click through the video which parts you want to see. I wanted to talk, because I didn't talk about this in last year's video, I wanted to talk about what I've done this year on the channel. I didn't talk about what I did last year on the channel, but I wanted to talk about what I've done this year on the channel. So this is what this section is going to be about what I've done in the year of 2020, because this will be the last video that I will make in 2020 for the Trace Parks channel. And then next year in 2021, there's going to be a new end song and new end screen color thingy, because I already got that set up and everything. Because as you know, it's been blue for about a year and like a month or so, and the song has been the same thing for the last like several thousand videos. So yeah, I'm gonna be changing that, and I was gonna go ahead and talk about what I've done this year on the channel. Okay, so I have it on my phone because I'm looking at all the videos on here so I can remember, because I don't remember them on the fly. I usually remember more of the Weather New Times Not films more better in which order they go in, because I don't know, they're just films and we do those a lot. On here I do a whole different variety of things, but I could not tell you what order they came in on my channel. So to start the year, I made a channel trailer, because I made a channel trailer 3 years ago. I wanted to make a new one, so I made a new one, and it's probably going to be the channel trailer for a pretty good bit until I decide to make another one. I did a couple of Out in Nature videos. I did, the first one was Long Branch Loop, which I went with my dad, and that was the first Out in Nature video of the year, and that was back in February. And then I started a series called The Career of Hunter Prince, which I ran for 3 episodes and quit running it because not a lot of people were watching him anymore. So I just quit doing the series as a whole together. I did a video also where I ranked my favorite WWE video games, because COVID just started and I thought of the idea because I play video games like all the time, so I just figured it would be a good idea to do it, and tier lists videos are what people do a lot of the time. I did my second Out in Nature video in May. From the time that I did The Career of Hunter Prince, it was like a month. I didn't film or do anything for like a month. And then I did the Chestnut Lead Trail in May, and that video was going into the summer, basically. And that was the last episode of Season 2 of Out in Nature, but the next time that I do another episode of Out in Nature will be in Season 3 of Out in Nature, so that'll be something to look forward to, I guess. And this year I always do vlogs, and I do vlog series and everything. This year I did my summer vlog series in Lake Lure, North Carolina, and I did a lot of things, such as going to the cabin, or the house, basically. I don't know, I'm so used to saying cabin, but it's the house. I celebrated my 20th birthday also on that trip, so there's that. We climbed up to Chimney Rock and got to see that, and that was pretty cool. We spent a day at the pool in the place that I was staying, and then we hiked up to Black Balsam Knob, which was something else, I will say. It was something else. But it was very nice, though. It had very nice views. And then I went away from doing anything on the channel for a couple months because I never really know what to do on here. I just come up with all sorts of ideas and hopefully they work. I brought back the gaming series in September when I showed off my Minecraft arena, my wrestling arena that I made in Minecraft, and it did pretty well, so I continued to do gaming for 4 different episodes. Actually 5 now because I recently just did an update on the Minecraft arena. If you want to go check that out, it'll probably be at the end of this video. I showed off my created wrestlers on my PlayStation 4. I've never really done that on my channel, so that was a first, but not a lot of people watched anyways, but it was a fun video to make. I started Epic Wrestling Battles. That was a series that I did for about a month, and it ran for 6 episodes, and then people just quit watching it, so I just quit making them because I felt like I was putting too much time and effort into making those videos, and not a single person was watching them, so it felt like they didn't really matter. But I did that for a little bit, and I had a lot of other episodes already made, but they'll never be released now because, like I said, nobody wanted to watch them. I did a vlog in Hiwassee, Georgia this year for Mom and Dad's birthday, where we went to a cabin in the woods for the 2nd year in a row, and that one was a pretty good video, I thought. You can also go check that out on my channel. You can go find it on there. It's called The Weekend Cabin Getaway, and it was pretty fun. It was a very different trip. And then I made a gingerbread house with my grandma, my Babal. She, I don't know, it was the idea from my mom. My mom gave me the idea to make one, and I thought of the idea of making a video out of it because I wasn't doing Epic Wrestling Battles anymore. So I thought, why not make it into a video? And that's basically all I've done this year. My last video I made, as you can tell, it was the update on the Minecraft arena. I've added a lot more stuff to it now since I've talked about it. But in a nutshell, that's pretty much all I've done this year. And I've done a little bit more. I'm pretty sure I've done more this year than I did last year. But yeah, that's what I wanted to recap what I've done this year in 2020. One of the craziest years ever because of COVID and all that stuff. And so yeah, it's been something else, and hopefully I'll be coming up with more ideas in 2021 and doing the best I can on this channel and on anything else that I do. But now for the moment, not really the moment, but the whole point of this video, talking about my top 10 movies of the year. I did this format, the format that I did last year was I talked about my dishonorable mentions, and then I talked about my honorable mentions, and then I went into my top 10 list. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know what I did last year, because I think I sat to one side of the screen and let the posters pop up, but I think I'm just going to sit here and let them pop up on the screen wherever. But that's how the format's going to go: dishonorable, honorable, and then the top 10. Now, I only watched 18 movies this year that are from 2020. I've watched a lot of movies this year, but some of them were not from 2020. Movie theaters were closed. Even when they are open, they don't have movies that look like movies I want to watch anyways. Before I even get started, I did this last year. Here's a list right here of all of the movies I haven't watched yet. Some of them have came out, but I haven't had the chance to watch them yet, or some of them have not even came out, period, and I won't be able to watch them until after this video comes out. So yeah, there's that. And I'm going to move on with my dishonorable mentions. I have 4 dishonorable mentions and 4 honorable mentions, and then obviously the top 10 list. Because last year I watched a crap ton of movies last year, so I had a big long list. That's why the video was so long. But yeah, here we go. This is my dishonorable mentions. So if you've cut here from the chapter thing, hello, this is the dishonorable mentions list. So like I said, there's 4 of them, and I always like to start out because I think I mentioned the worst one of the year last when I talked about them last year, but I'm going to talk about it first. At not number whatever, because this is the dishonorable mentions list, what the crap am I talking about? Downhill. I despise this movie. I think this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Not in my life, but the worst movie of this year. Because last year was Countdown, and that movie was awful. Downhill, went downhill, I will say. It was a pretty bad movie. I didn't even watch all of it. That's how bad I thought it was. I thought it was pretty stupid. If you ask me, I thought it was not that great. The I didn't know the thing that I didn't like about it. I just didn't understand the whole idea of it. And even when I found out later on what the idea of it was, it still was stupid to me. I don't know why. I just found it to be a stupid movie. So that one was considered the worst movie in my opinion of the year. Yeah, there's probably more, but all of these on the dishonorable mentions list I've considered not great movies at all this year. So next on my dishonorable mentions list, and I think a lot of people would kind of be surprised, and at the same time some of them will not be. It's kind of like a toss-up. Birds of Prey. Yeah, the only thing I can really say about this video, and I love the action and everything in it and all of the superhero stuff, you know. The only thing that I will say about it is if you like a movie that hates on men, you'll love this movie, because I sure didn't. It takes every opportunity that it can to bash men like every single one of them is bad, when a majority or half of them are not. And it just puts a really bad perception on people like me. So that's all I can really say about that. The next one on my list is Fantasy Island. Of course, going into this movie, I knew it was going to be bad because I already heard about how it wasn't any good, really. It was just bafflingly stupid. I had high hopes for this movie until I found out Blumhouse was making it. And I'm like, okay, well then never mind, my hopes are out the window. They make the most craziest crap ever. It's ridiculous, I think. Yeah, I don't know. The ending of the movie was dumb. The premise is great, but they just didn't do a very great job at showing it. A lot of it was confusing. The final movie on my dishonorable mentions list is The New Mutants. I went and watched this movie with Dawson. I have him. There's a movie review on the Weather News Hamilton channel. If you want to go check that out, go to the channel, and you'll find it. Yeah, it should be there. We watched it back in September. I don't like this movie. Some of the parts are cool. A lot of it's not. There's just a lot of it that doesn't really, I don't, like, honestly, how I felt is I didn't feel like I cared about anybody in that film at all. I just didn't. I didn't care. So, like, if anyone was in danger, it didn't really matter. But the gore and stuff in parts of it was pretty good. But that's about it. It started, if you watch the movie review, I explain it a lot more. But the beginning of that movie just kind of came out of nowhere. Just kind of, we're starting and that's how it's going. It's just going to keep going the way that we're going here. So, I don't know. I just didn't really like the movie that much. Also, it felt like it was all over the place. Most likely because it was delayed, for 3 years. So, that's also a point to add. So now we're entering my honorable mentions list. And this is only, like I said, have 4 on here. Like the dishonorable mentions list. These are movies that did not make my top 10, but I still enjoyed them a lot. They just weren't in my top 10. First up, we have Sonic the Hedgehog. I actually thought this was going to be on my dishonorable mentions list before I even watched it. And then I watched it, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was better than I expected. Jim Carrey's always great. I mean, #1 movie of all time, Truman Show. He's like the guy. He's the main guy in it. He was very good, I thought, as Robotnik. I thought it was a good kids movie. I mean, I don't watch kids movies a lot, as you can tell by the other movie videos. But I found it to be entertaining, and I don't really know much about Sonic. I just know that he's fast, and I know little things. I don't know I'm not a mega fan, I guess you could say. I'm not a mega fan of it, but I know who he is, and I thought the movie was pretty good. Next up on my honorable mentions list is Hamilton. It's funny because I didn't think this would actually be on my honorable mentions list, and yes, I count it as a movie because it was on Disney Plus, and they filmed it like it was a movie, even though it was the actual play. I'm not a musical guy, and I'm not a play guy. It had like hip hop and stuff in it, so I kind of was intrigued with it. But at the same time, the music was great in it. It was just pretty cool to see in person, like and to see on the TV and everything, and watch the whole entire thing. And it was something I've never really seen before, so I enjoyed it, and that's why it's on my honorable mentions list. The next one is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I had a hard time figuring out whether I wanted to put this in my top 10 or not. This movie sends you on a trip of acid. Okay, for basically the whole movie, I had no idea where it was going. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on half the time because a lot of it was weird, and then a lot of it was just even more weird. So it kind of just was all over the place. I liked it because it looked nice. All the shots in the movie looked nice. The only thing that I would take away, I mean, I get the story now after researching a lot because I have to do that in order to understand what the crap is going on. And then I figured out it was a pretty cool concept. And then, yeah, and then I liked it a lot. I started to like it more, and that's why I kind of was like trying to decide whether it'd be in my top 10 or not, but it ends up here in my honorable mentions list. And finally, on my honorable mentions list, we have The Gentleman. Now, The Gentleman was in my top 10 because I thought it was a very funny movie, and I actually liked it a lot. It was one of the first movies I watched this year, and I liked it. It was pretty good. I found it to be pretty funny, and the ending was pretty good, I thought. And yeah, it was great. I liked it. The scene where I think it's Charlie Hunnam witnesses that guy he pushed the guy off the balcony, and the people are taking videos of his dead body on the ground, and he runs after him to delete the photos. I think that's just a funny scene. I don't know why. I just find it funny.
So you killed someone?
No, it was the gravity that killed him.
But that's my honorable mentions list. Now we're going to get into my top 10 movies of the year. As of course I was about to say as of whatever, but it's throughout the whole year, so there would be no point in putting as of. Alright, so here we go. We're going to start it off. Number 10, The Trial of the Chicago 7. This movie, it kind of relates to what's going on now, and even with that element into it, I liked it regardless. I thought it was a pretty good film, well written, it looked good, the acting was great. I did not expect Sacha Baron Cohen to do an amazing job like he did in this movie. It was crazy. I thought that Eddie Redmayne was going to have a bigger part in it, but it ended up being all about Sacha Baron Cohen's character, which I never thought he did serious movies because he's just known as Borat half the time. So that was a surprise. But other than that, I've liked it a lot. Number 9, I have The Five Bloods. This movie was just epic. I thought it was pretty cool. When I heard this movie was coming out during Oscar, because the Oscars were going on, and Spike Lee was talking about how he was making a movie called The Five Bloods about, like, it's like a Vietnam thingy, and I watched it on Netflix, and I really liked it a lot. Delroy Lindo, his acting is like the best in the whole entire movie. Get this man an Oscar. Just kind of how I felt like they should have, or they did with Joaquin, and they did. But he deserves one. I never heard about the guy until this movie, and he was like all in. He was going all in into this movie. So one of the funny moments from that movie is when totally it caught me off guard, and I was like, whoa, you know, was when one of the guys like he's talking and talking and talking, and then he steps back onto a mine, and then he explodes, and it's just like, what the crap? It's like, where did that even come from?
That money is the root of all.
Number 8 on my list. This one was number 1 on my list for a little bit. The Invisible Man. I don't know what it is about this film, but I liked it a lot. Just the fact, the whole idea of just the whole story in general, like these two brothers trying to, you know, screw around with this woman, and it's just like, I don't know, it messing up her life. It was crazy. I found it to be kind of insane. But I love the scene when she's in the attic and she pours the white paint on the dude, the Invisible Man, and you just see this suit, and it's like so cool. It's like, how do you even do that? And then you find out, like, this guy, this rich dude, her husband or whatever, ex-husband, I don't know how it works, made these like suits that make you invisible, and it's like, it's insane, and the whole like story just goes back and forth, and it's just crazy. But I liked it a lot. It would have been higher, but I liked a lot of other ones this year. So number 7 is Enola Holmes. I like this one a lot because it reminded me a lot of Harry Potter. I know she is the sister of Sherlock Holmes, and it's also played by Millie Bobby Brown. But it just towards the end of it, it made me feel like it was a Harry Potter-esque film because of all the, you know, detective stuff and all the magical fighting junk and all this stuff and all the British actors and everything. It just made me think of Harry Potter a lot, and I think that's the reason why I put it so high, was for that reason. And it's funny to see her in something that's not Stranger Things. That's also funny too, I think. Next on my list, number 6, is Extraction. This movie, I know a lot of people, I feel like, didn't like it. I don't know. I think a lot of people didn't. I thought the action was amazing. John Wick-esque, and then I found out it was actually by the guy who did John Wick, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Chris Hemsworth just goes ham on everybody. He just does. I don't know what it is, but he just does. Trying to get that boy out of there, trying to save his life. The ending of this movie, I won't really say what happens, doesn't quite make sense, and I've talked about it with Dawson too, because he watched it as well. It just doesn't, it honestly is kind of funny. It kind of, I don't know, it feels like something that we would do in a film, and it's just funny to see that in an actual movie. Now we're going into the top 5. Yes, these are the top 5 my all-time favorite movies of the year. My favorite ones, so we're getting into that section of the list. At number 5, I know this movie just came out like a week or two ago. Mank. I found Mank to be a pretty good film. I like the way that they made it seem like it was a 1940s film, and because the guy that Gary Oldman plays is the guy who wrote the script for Citizen Kane and then won an Oscar for it, and I just liked how it was done. The story was kind of all over the place, and I kind of get that because it's just trying to tell the life of this guy and how he wrote the script. And I liked the fact they had Orson Welles, a guy who plays Orson Welles in this movie. He looked just like him, and it freaked me out. I thought it was weird because I was like, how does this dude look exactly like him? There's a lot of different storylines in it, and yeah, it's a biographical movie, so it's gonna be, I guess, all over the place because there's gonna be so much stuff going on in the guy's life. You can only put so much into a film, I guess, and I don't know, but David Fincher always does really great with movies, so it makes it even better. My number 4 on this list, as you can tell, there actually is not any Marvel movies on here, because last year I put a couple on there, because this year they didn't come out with any. They kept delaying a lot of them. But there will be on the next one, I'll tell you that. I already have a list made up of all the ones that I want to see next year. This reason why it made me say that, number 4 is Onward, because that's a Disney movie and it's a Pixar movie, and I actually liked it. I like Disney Pixar movies a lot. When they also, if you haven't seen the Investor Day stuff for Disney, they announced they're having a Buzz Lightyear Pixar movie, and I'm just like, dude, sign me up. But Onward was pretty great. It made me feel like watching movies like that make you feel like you're a kid again. Going to the movie theater and watching movies like that, like animated movies like that, it makes you feel a certain way. And this movie was really good. I thought it was. The ending was okay. I thought the ending was alright for what it was. It kind of, the whole dynamic between the sons trying to get their dad back, for some reason you kind of feel like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And then for sure it doesn't happen. So he just goes away. It's like that's a typical Disney movie. Number 3 is a movie that I had at number 1 for a really long time, and that's The Way Back. The Way Back is a basketball movie with Ben Affleck in it, and he's like a drunk or whatever. And I just really like this movie a lot. I like basketball, and so when I knew it looked intense when I watched the trailers and stuff. I just really liked it. And the way that they tell the story of Ben Affleck's character and the path that he goes on in the movie, it just makes it even more intense and emotional. And it was just, I really enjoyed it a lot. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I did. So yeah, that's my number 3, and I think a lot of people would be kind of surprised that it's up there, but it's up there. It's on my number. It's number 3. Number 2 on my list now. For this one and the number 1, I had a hard time like figuring out which one of these two is going to be my number 1, because I just did. I had a very hard time figuring that out, because they're both great in their own different ways. My number 2 is The Devil All the Time. This movie made me get Joker vibes, and it made me immediately want to put it at number 1. I've seen it twice already. I think it's great. It's funny because, like, in the trailer, it's like super intense, and you think, well, crap, this might not actually be as great as it is. And then when you watch it, it's like, holy crap, man. It actually is really good. I know it probably won't get any nominations for anything that's big, but I thought it was really great. It made me think of the Joker a lot. Tom Holland was great in it, even though he doesn't show up for until the 40 to 50 minute mark, which is funny to me. But that doesn't make it worse for me, at least. It doesn't make it any worse. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, it draws comparisons for me to Joker when I watch the Joker, which is right behind me. So, yeah. And now we're on to the number 1 movie of the year. But before I go to that movie, actually, talking about it, my number 1 movie last year was Joker. And I think I will stick with that statement, and that in 2019, that was the best movie that I saw. It just took the character of Joker and showed it in a different way, and it showed how you need to help people that have problems, or they'll turn out like that. My number 1 movie of this year is Tenet. As you can tell, I like movies that have one word. Just one single word. No, Tenet was good. It was as great as I expected it to be. The whole backwards and forwards in time and all this crazy concept stuff, and putting on the masks and doing all these things, and it was crazy. It made me think of Inception a lot, and I really liked Inception as well. And I know Christopher Nolan made it in the Tenet movie too, but Tenet was just really great. It makes you really think after watching it, are we really going forward? Are we going backward? Because I don't know. It's just it makes you really think. I put it at number one because it also kind of reminded me of the Truman Show, because the Truman Show made me think like, oh, are we living in a box, man? Can you let me out? Let me out. Somebody's controlling me over here. But Tenet made me think of that, like, are we going forward or backward? And really, we're not, but it just makes you really think, like, something else is going on. John David Washington was great as the protagonist, as they called him. It was cool. He was a cool guy, and then you find out the only spoiler I'm going to give, because we actually did a movie review on Whether News Happened or Not, also of this movie, if you want to go check that out, where he ran the whole entire operation from the start, and the whole time stuff is confusing. It's crazy though, but it'll make sense towards the end. Also, Robert Pattinson is really great in this movie too. He's done really well in a lot of movies lately, so that's a plus. But that's gonna be it, ladies and gentlemen. Those were my top 10 movies of the year. And I will be doing another one of these next year in 2021. And maybe I'll have more movies on it. This year I only had 18, and I showed you all the list of movies I haven't seen yet, and those would have been on here, but sadly they're not. It's a funny thing too, after I did the 2019 one, I watched a lot more movies from 2019, and now they're on my list of those. Who knows if I do an update of that? Probably not, since I've already talked about a majority of them. But there are some movies like 1917 and Parasite and stuff like that that I didn't put on the list before because I never seen them yet. So, yeah, that's always cool. But that's going to be it. I thought of an idea for a thing to do, possibly, if any of y'all want me to do it. I thought about, y'all can pick a movie that I've never seen before, and I will, because now this is becoming a big thing now, recording your reaction to the movie that you're watching, so for the first time ever. So I figured, that would be kind of cool. So if you want to drop your suggestions in the comments of what movies, and I'll see if I've seen them or not, because I can remember if I have or not, of what movies I should watch for the first time on my channel, let me know in the comments below, and I'll get to those in 2021. But thank you guys for watching this video. This is the final video of 2020. It's been a good year, and hopefully y'all stick around for 2021. If you like this video, leave a like down below. Comment what video I should do next, or what movie I should watch for my movie reactions series that I might start up. And subscribe to the Trace Parks channel. My name is Trace Parks, and I'll see you guys in the next Trace Parks video. Bye-bye.